ओम सदाशिवसमारंभां शंकराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्. Okay, yes, starting before, when we are starting Upanishads, fine. Just to recap something, okay, to recap certain things. Upanishad, also known as Vedanta, is considered a pramana. Vedanto nama Upanishad pramanam. Sadananda defines it like that. Called Vedanta, the Upanishad are a pramana. Vedanta because it comes at the end portion of the Veda. Pramanam Pramakaranam. Why? The whole Veda is a pramana, and therefore Upanishad also becomes a pramana for those things I can't figure out by myself. So Vedanta is, the Veda is a pramana for what I can't figure out. So please don't call Veda scientific, because science is all about what we can figure out. What I cannot figure out is what the Veda has to give me. Now, certain principles talked about in the Veda may be scientific. That's okay. That's there. The Veda is doing a restatement. It is not becoming a pramana. It's only restating something. So when the thing is being said as it is, when the pramana stands independently, it has to be other than what science says. Now the question of consciousness is also being dealt with in science, but it is the manifested consciousness they are talking about, not the pure consciousness. So all this we will see in detail as we pass it. So if it is, and as we have seen before, the first portion of the Veda deals with dharma, artha, kama, because that is what people are really caught up by. In fact, people are caught up only with artha and kama. Your security, what gives you a sense of security, like finance, etc., house, etc., and kama, which is dealing with your desire fulfillment. In the traditional Hindu thinking, dharma was important. Dharma comes from two standpoints. One is the role of law, ethics, morality, etc., that we see in the world, in our day-to-day function, in our relationship with people. There needs to be a certain amount of ethics coming into the picture. Without that, it doesn't work out. Even in terms of business, making money, finance, relationship, in all this. So that is one aspect of dharma. Other aspect of dharma is with respect to life hereafter. We took a long-term perspective of life. Life is not over with your death. Life is not over with your death. There is much more to life than that. Therefore, what happens after that also? That is also comes in dharma. Therefore, acts, Vedic rituals, actions, which help you for life hereafter, and acts of reaching out, helping people, etc. First one is called Ishti, Vedic rituals. Purti is acts of reaching out, helping people, etc. Whom do I help? Who needs it? Okay, yeah. Okay. So this is for dharma, artha, kama. But as we have seen in the Gita and other else places, dharma, artha, kama is not enough to make you feel a fulfilled being. You can be a very religious person, do all the dharmic activities, and still say, why should this thing happen to me? Why should this happen to me? There is a sense of lack of fulfillment in every human being, and that fulfillment is called as moksha. The discovery of yourself as a fulfilled being. So that fulfilled being has to be the limitless being. Okay, I am cutting across a huge topic. If anyone has any doubts on it, please don't hesitate to ask. So this fulfilled being we are talking about is what you already are in the vision of the Upanishad. The Upanishad doesn't see us as a struggling finite entity. The Upanishad sees us as fulfilled beings, limitlessness itself. And if you are really limitless, you cannot gain the limitless by anything other than knowledge, because it already has to be you. The infinite cannot be gained through action. So it's a question becomes self-discovery. And it is like a child coming and telling me, "Uncle, what is space? How do I get it?" And I say, "Well, out there yonder, where the sun and the moon and the stars are there, that is space." "Uncle, when I go big, I will drive a rocket and reach space." Not the kid's fault, my fault. Why? I talked about space being beyond. I didn't tell him that space is there, what is there between you and me. When you feel hungry, what is there in your stomach? Lot of space. When you feel stuffed also, there is a lot of space. I didn't tell him that. Therefore, he thinks he has to get it. You only have to recognize the space is yours anyway. Yeah, all the space is yours. Yeah. Take it, it's all yours. So similarly, since space cannot be a subject matter of an action, similarly, the limitless self cannot be a subject of an action. It can only be recognized, known as myself. Therefore, this knowledge, the means of knowledge that gives me this, is called a pramana, the Upanishad. Therefore, now Upanishad is a pramana to know myself. Okay. This all sounds nice. Does the Upanishad say that I am a pramana? Does the Upanishad say I am a pramana? Yes, it does. It does say that. How? Simple. The word itself says that. In Sanskrit, all words come either from a nominal stem or a root. Here the root for Upanishad, the root is Shad. Shadil R actually, but then by grammatical rules, etc., the rules become the Shad. Okay. Upa and Ni are prefixes. Prefixes, and what does a prefix do? It enhances the meaning. It may limit the meaning. Or balad anyatra niyati. It may take the meaning elsewhere also. Okay. All this is part of what a prefix can do. Okay. So what is a prefix? Here prefix are upa and ni. Let's start with the first one. Upa. What does it mean? In fact, in Mundaka Bhashya, Shankara explains it in 2 lines. He explains it. Upa means samipye, near. Oh yeah, that is true, Swamiji. I have heard it. What? You sit near a guru and learn. Knee down below. You sit down below. The guru sits at a height. You sit below and you learn. That is Upanishad. Some Annie Besant follower wrote it, and all our Indians mechanically take the same meaning. Now, when you use a word near, far, etc., you have to specify near what? Near what? You know, there is a place a few kilometers away from where I stay, Govandi. cheetah camp. It is a nightmare for a delivery boy or a postman or something. Why? The address will be flat number so room number so and so. Okay. Bismillah building. हरा मस्जिद के बाजू में, नियर हरा मस्जिद. The only problem is there are half a dozen hara masjid in cheetah camp. Which hara masjid are you talking about? Near what? Because far and near are highly relative concepts. First you need a reference point, number one. Like I can say, my laptop is near touching distance. But the cup of tea in the kitchen is far. It is not within touching, far. The tea is near. Chembur station is far. Chembur station is near. Dadar is far. I can go on like this. What is far can become near, what is near can become far, depending upon your reference point. Now the question is, what is the reference point in Upanishad? For near, what is the reference point? There is no reference point. Upa stands by itself. Meaning the near. The near means what? That which can never become far, which can never become nearer, nor can it become far. What is that? That can never become far and cannot become nearer. I. Therefore, Upa stands for Atma, I. Because remember, it has to stand for the Atma, it cannot stand for my body. Because I can say body is far, body is near, laptop is far. But body is far, thought is near. Thought is near, thought is far, I am near. Can I become far? Yes, Swami, I heard Atma is beyond everything. Remember my story of that boy and the space. When you say beyond, they always will become beyond Ananda. Okay. So that which cannot become far or near, that the near is called I, Atma. Upa stands for Atma. Upa stands for the Atma. Okay, fine. Then what does Ni stand for? Nischayatmaka Jnanam. Ni stands for definite, clear-cut knowledge. A knowledge which is not vague, a knowledge that does not have doubt or error. Nischayatmaka Jnanam. Therefore, Upani means self-knowledge. Upa and Ni together means self-knowledge. Then Shad kya kar raha hai udhar? The root, we have not yet come to the root. Shad tells you what will be the result of self-knowledge. Atma Jnanam Upani Tasya Phalam Kim. What does it do? First, Nashayati. It destroys. What does it destroy? Ajnanam Nashayati. Samsaram avasadayati. Anartha vratan, all that you call as samsara, including your karma phalam, everything. Avasadayati or visharati, it ends, it wears it out. Another meaning of shad is gamanam, gamayati, Brahma gamayati. It takes you to Brahman. Takes you in your understanding, in your cognition. Brahma gamayati. This is just the word meaning of the word Upanishad. Self-explanatory. Self-explanatory. Upa stands for the self, Ni for the knowledge, Nishyadmaka Jnanam. Shad, what does that knowledge do? It destroys my ignorance, wears out all my karma, karma phala, etc. and takes me to the Brahman that I am. Takes me home. Okay. This is the meaning of the word Upanishad. And in this, I hope it is clear. Any questions? Shoot. Okay. Don't hesitate. Unmute yourself and say, I have a question. I'm sure you have heard about it. Those who have not attended an Upanishad class also have heard from me in all the camps, etc. Okay. So, this much is clear. Upanishad stands for self-knowledge. Now, when you hear about studying the 10 Upanishad, you will say, Isha Kena Kata Prashna Aitriya Taitriya Mundaka Mandukya Chandogya Brihadaranya. One way of saying it. So, why are we starting with Mundaka Upanishad? Because Mundaka and Kena traditionally are the beginning Upanishad, easy to get into, easy to understand. Isha can be a bit confusing. Those of you who have attended the Isha Upanishad from me, if I ask today, what is Sambhutim, Asambhutim, what is Jnanam, Ajnanam, Vidya, Vidya, etc., you will be still confused. One hearing is not enough. Okay. Therefore, the general tradition. Yeah, shoot. Yeah, don't bother about the order. There are 3-4 orders. Yeah, so don't bother about it. Please mute yourself. Your computer is making too much of a racket. Yeah. So, like this, traditionally, either you will start with Mundaka or Kata Upanishad. And a first quick glance of it is very interesting. In Kata Upanishad, the student is a kid, but mature kid. In Mundaka Upanishad, the students are mature people who have lived a full life, okay, who have lived a full life and been there, done that. I'm sure most of my students are like that. Not a full life or leading a full life. Definitely been there, done that. Even the youngsters, I'm sure, have been there, done that. From the little I know about their lives. Okay. Some of you, one or two are new faces whom I don't know well, but the others, I know well. Now you have been there, done that. Okay. Which is good. This is good. You can't be naive and study Vedanta. Yeah. I don't expect a Vedanta student to sing, Sab kuch seekha humne, na seekha duniadari. No, such a person doesn't become a good student of Vedanta. You have to see life and what it is. Yeah. Can't be very fair. So this is the difference in the two students. So we are dealing with, mature students. All right, not kids, mature students. And in this mature students, Mundaka is from the Atharva Veda. Okay. Those of you who remember me telling you the story of Vyasa will know that there was a big discussion whether Atharva Veda should be included into the Veda study or not. Big conflict, huge conflict in ancient India, prehistoric times. Okay. We are talking more than 5,000 years, 5,000 BC or more. Huge conflict among the rishis, whether Atharva Veda should be part of the Upanishad, the Vedic literature or not. And forget rishis, even we scholars are a little bit headstrong always, Thoda jiddi ho sakta hai. Well, you analyzed and come to a conclusion. Now, come on. You thought well, analyzed well, studied well, you come to a conclusion. Now you're coming and telling me something. You think I'm going to change my mind that easily? Yeah. It is not the pig-headed stubbornness that comes out of ignorance. No. It is the stubbornness that can come because of you have thought it over and this is your ascertained conclusion. So both sides were sticking to their stance. And it was Vyasa who resolved the whole thing. That's why we praise Vyasa as the guru of gurus and things like that. And the analysis of the whole Veda, etc., was done by him and his students over a 12-year period. There was a first Kumbh Mela. Okay. After that, the Kumbh Melas that happen nowadays supposed to be a reflection of the first Shrauta period that they had under Vyasa. So at the end of that 12-year period, the whole assembly of rishis hailed him as Veda Vyasa. His name was otherwise Krishna Dvipayanaha. Krishna because he was dark-skinned, he is called Krishna. Dvipayana after his mother because he was born on an island to a fisherwoman. Anyway, I am not going to tell the story. So that is the Atharva Veda. So the Atharva Veda, Mundaka becomes a part of the Atharva Veda. In fact, many profound Upanishads are part of the Atharva Veda, Mundaka, Manduka, etc. Now, why Mundaka? The name. Nobody is absolutely sure about it, okay? Because when Upanishads were named, they didn't bother. The name was only to distinguish one from the another. One Upanishad from another Upanishad. So very often the first word in the Upanishad became the names. Okay? Like Isa Vasyam. Because the first verse is Isa. First word is Isha. Kena Upanishad. First word is Kena. Okay? So, okay. Now, some people say, and it is true for all Upanishads, the statement will be, okay, Mundaka is a frog, isn't it? The frog doesn't go laterally. It always goes in leaps. So Vedanta is also like that. You have to take a cognitive leap. It's not always simple logic. You have to take a cognitive leap. It is not descriptive. Because if you are going to describe it, you will make it finite. The more description you do, the more finite a thing becomes. The more adjectives you pile on, the more finite it becomes. The more words you use, the more finite it becomes. And here, through words, you are going to reveal the infinite. So from the direct meaning of the words, you have to take a cognitive leap. Not an intuitive leap, a cognitive leap into what is beyond the words. It is not that you don't do something similar, not the same, similar in your life. Like my favorite example, your kid comes home from school, throws the bag on the sofa. This stupid school, I don't want to go. Which mother does not know? Which woman, man also, but woman definitely, does not know that there has been a hassle in school? I don't think any mother is going to give a bhashan to the child on why school is important at that moment. And if there are people who will do that, please develop your sensitivity or empathy before coming to Vedanta study, okay? There are certain qualifications I am forced to add okay, to the classical study. Yeah. That's not the time for a bhashan. The kid is feeling upset and you recognize that. The kid is upset. You may not know how to respond, that's okay, but at least you can understand. Kid is upset, that's important. Probably something happened in school which triggered off a lot of anger, hurt in him. Understand. So similarly, the words, that's why really speaking, I think the Zoom medium is a very poor medium, okay? But for want, how am I going to put all of you all in one class? Some of you are based in Chembur group, some of you are based in Matunga, some of you are based in town. So I was thinking maybe once a month at least we can, those who are in Bombay at least, we can meet up at least once a month, maybe Matunga or someplace, somewhere is more central, So from Chembur, Borivali also, and Borivali, some of you Borivali, Thana, can come to Matunga. And from town also you can come to Matunga. Why? Because Matunga, this place may be available. I have to check up with Punjab Vacation is here, where we can use that. Of course, if all of you can come there, I'll be happy. Yeah. Because you need a certain amount of interactions. That's why I also insist that as far as possible, keep your video on so I can see whether are you following, not following, etc. I can see that. Yeah. Having said that much, now, so for this Upanishad becomes a part of the Atharva Veda. Okay. So the Atharva Veda has its own Shanti Shlokas. Okay. There are roughly about 10 Shanti Shlokas that we all chant on a regular basis. But each Upanishad, each Veda has its own. So here it goes something like this. I'm sure all of you have a copy. I don't mind which book you all use. Okay. I use this book, 8 Upanishads, just for the convenience of it, because one, it has an English translation of the Shankara Bhashya. Second, therefore, because this translation of Shankara Bhashya, it can't go wrong. Okay. Can't go wrong. And second, it's convenient. In two small books like this, I have 8 Upanishads together. So all the Upanishads I'm going to teach are there. It's easier that way. So any book. The Dhyana Sloka goes something like this. Okay. Om Badram Karne Vishruniyama Devaha Badram Pakshe Makshabhirya Jatra Sire Rangehi Sushtuva Gumsastanubihi Veshema Devahitam Yadayuhum Swasti na Indro Vruddhashavaha Swasti na Pusha Vishwaveda Swasti na Sarksho Varishtanemihi Swasti no Brahaspatir Dadatu. 2 slokas. Meaning is very, very simple. I don't want to go into complex philosophical meaning again. Don't overthink too much. It is simple, straightforward meaning. Badram Karanebhi Shriyamaha. O Devaha, gods, whatever I hear in my ears, let it be auspicious, good things. I don't want to hear bad news. I may hear all good news. You don't want to hear bad news? I'm hoping there's nothing bad happening. Okay. Badram eva Shriyamaha. Badram Pakshe Maakshabhir Yajatra. While engaged in sacrifice and worship, in study, etc., may we see only auspicious things. Badram, through our eyes, may see only auspicious things. Sthire Rangehi Sushtuva Gamstanubihi. Okay. While worshipping the Lord, Sthirehi Angehi. Let my limbs be steady. Veshema Devitam Yadayu. And when we are worshipping, Veshema Devitam, as long as we live, we worship the gods, and let my limbs be steady enough for that. Let me not be someone like who will say, Ab to bilkul booda hu, goli kha kar jita hu. Not like that. Even if I become like that, let me have my limbs have the strength to worship the Lord and study. That way, It's okay to eat a few golis, that's not a problem. But as long as this is clear, my limbs are steady, I want to worship the Lord and I want to understand the truth. Let it be like that. What a beautiful prayer, Swastina Indro Vruddhashavaha. Swasti Naha. Naha Asmakam. For us, Swastihi, all auspicious things, victory, etc., success, etc. Who may Indra grant us to that? Who is Indra? Vruddhashava, who has been praised in the Vedas itself. From ancient times he has been praised. So may that Indra. Okay. In the Puranas, Indra is presented only as king of heavens. In the Veda, Indra is Ishvara himself. Okay, there's a slight difference there in the way you look at it. Okay, Indra is Ishvara himself in the Veda, whereas in the Puranas, etc., his role has shrunk into this much only. That's okay, the way of looking at it, that's all. Sasyana Pushpusha Vishwaveda. Vishwaveda, the one who is the entire world. Pushaha, Pushanaha. Another way of looking at Ishvara. As through the earth we are looking at Ishvara. Okay? May he bless us. Swastina Sarksho Arishtanemihi. Starkshaha. Who's the destroyer of all evil? Who's that? Garuda himself. Vishnu's Vahana, Garuda. May he be auspicious. Meaning, that means what? May we not have enough problems. May be able to cut across all problems. Like how no problems can hamper Garuda's Gati. Similarly, may no problems hamper my Gati. May good things also not hamper my Gati in studying Vedanta. Okay? Because sometimes good things can hamper. No? What is the good thing? Where is the party tonight? That's why my American students would have been happy if I kept it a bit later. But I said no. 7 to 8 on a Friday night is okay. Because if you have to go out for dinner, partying, etc., you can still manage it. After 8 o'clock, you can go. Who goes partying before 8 o'clock anyway? Who goes for a dinner before 8 o'clock? Manageable. So 7 to 8. Okay. Therefore, let the good things also not hamper us. Swastino Brihaspati Dadatu. May Brihaspati, the Guru of the gods themselves, may he also bless us. Okay. Alright. Now, after that, we get into this is a simple meaning of the text of the Dhyana slokas. Now, after that, we go into the text. So, the text starts with an Arthavada. But also gives information, both. It's twofold function. Now, what is an Arthavada? Arthavada can be a story, it can be a description, it can be praise, it can be criticism. For what? To highlight the importance of something. Okay. Now, this is important to show where the heart of the speaker is. Supposing I say, अरे प्रभास क्या एक्टर है यार, शाहरुख खान और उसका आगे कुछ नहीं है. So then you will immediately make out this character is a Prabhas fan. Prabhas, no? I think so. I'm not too sure, okay? My knowledge of movies and movie stars is limited. It's there, but it's limited, okay? But you know where my heart is. Yeah. So, praise or criticism. Then you know my heart is in the opposite. Or a story highlighting something. So, all this is called Arthavada. Now, here, how does it become Arthavada? But Arthavada also can give you some information. Because there is truth in it, at the same time there is Arthavada. It is talking about the lineage of the teaching. Like, we look at what he is saying here. Om Brahma Devanam Prathamasam Babuva Vishwasya Karta Bhuvanasya Goptaha Sa Brahmavidyam Sarva Vidyam Pratishtam Atharvaya Jeshta Putraya Praha. Om is the indication of the starting of the mantra. Here it is used only in the sense of Mangala Suchakam, hearing something auspicious. Om stands for Ishvara, which I will explain later when it comes up in the text. Okay. Otherwise, it's Mangala. Like, what is Mangala Suchakam? They play the Nadaswaram in a wedding, no? Why? Here in the Nadaswaram, something auspicious is happening here, something good is happening. Now don't turn around and ask me what is good about a marriage. Okay, that's not for me to say. That's for you all to say. It is good. It is good. Yeah, Grahastha's life has a glory about it. Should own it up. Yeah, it has its own hassles also. That's also fine. Okay. So in this manner. Okay. So in this manner, okay, when you are talking about the Upanishad, he says, one second, I forgot something. Should have done this earlier, but my computer was giving me a lot of problems before starting. So it says, Brahma, the Kriya. Who is Brahma? Devanam Pratama Sambhuva. The Lord that manifested first, Ishvara himself. He's talking about Ishvara himself. Who is he? Vishwasya Karta Bhuvanasya Goptaha. Vishwasya Karta, the source of this universe. And the sustainer, protector of the universe. Protector means sustainer, the one that sustains. The one who has manifested the universe and the one who is sustaining the universe. Vishwasya Karta, Bhuvanasya Goptaha. Sa Brahma Vidyam Sarva Vidyam Pratishtam. Brahma Vidyam Atma Jnanam Upanishad. Sarva Vidyanam Varishtam. That which is the most sacred of all the knowledges. Or Sarva Vidyam Pratishtam. Okay, let us look at it slightly differently. Maja aayega. Sarva Vidyanam Pratishtam. He says, all Vidyas are really based on Brahma Vidya. ये क्या बात है? How can all Vidyas be based on Brahma Vidya? You mean science, physics, etc. is based on Brahma Vidya? How can that be? How can that be? Because all knowledge has to be is centered on the knower or not. If you are there, you can gain some knowledge. If you are not there, what knowledge can you gain? Let us say, I concluded something about myself. What is that? I am a victim. Okay? People always exploit me. This is my self-identity. Then how will my judgment, does it affect my judgment of other people? It is. I am only made a judgment about myself. But does it affect my understanding of other people? Because now I am looking at everyone with suspicion because I am a victim, isn't it? I am a victim. If I am a victim, the whole world is exploited. Hey, I am a strong, confident person. I can handle whatever life throws at me. Then, does that affect the way you look at the world? Of course. Nothing is a big issue. Yaar, I can handle it. No, the world is full of problems. There are situations that to be dealt with. So, how you look upon yourself will affect what you know. That means what? And we don't know what we really are. Therefore, all knowledge becomes a little bit problematic. But Swamiji, what about science, etc.? Yeah, science starts by saying world is real and I am finite. Seer-seen difference is there, and in all our observations, we have to keep the seer separate and then make an observation. That's the first assumption in science, and that itself makes it problematic. Your idea of reality becomes distorted with this. Thank God for quantum physics. Why? Seer-seen division is difficult to maintain. In quantum physics, seer-seen difference becomes difficult to maintain. Thank God. So now the whole thing is being challenged. So your self-perception, how you see yourself, becomes the basis for all your learning. For all your learning, how you see yourself becomes important. So sarva vidyam pratishtam. You can take it as it's best among the vidyas, because all vidyas will keep you in samsara. This vidya will free you from samsara. So that way also you can look at it. That's a simple way. But now this is mature student, now people with background coming. So let me handle it slightly differently. Okay. Pratishtam. Then he taught it. Whom? Atharvaya Jeshtaputraya Praha. Praha. Not mere aha, praha. Aha means to tell. Praha is to teach. Prakarshena. Communicated it very well. To whom? Atharvaya. Mahatharvan. The greatest of the Atharva Veda rishis. Okay. Mahatharvan. Some people used to call him Mahatharvan Jabali also. Very, very powerful figure in the Vedas. Okay. With a word, his opponent could fall dead, or with a word, he could revive the dead. Okay. This was what Mahatharvan Jabali was. He could revive the dead with just a word, or destroy someone also with just a word. Okay. And it seems he lasted, and he lived for a long time, from the time of the Vedas to the Mahabharata, before the Mahabharata. We don't know whether the same Mahatharvan or some other Mahatharvan, okay? Probably the same, who knows? He had a daughter called Vatika, who was a Rishika herself, okay? Well versed in the Vedic, She married Vyasa. She fell in love with Vyasa and married him. Okay. So Vyasa's wife is Mahatharvan Jabali's daughter. So if it is the same Mahatharvan, okay, Mahatharvan Jeshtaputraya Praha, he taught it. That only shows even rishis had become students sometime or the other. Only the teacher was Ishvara himself. Teacher was Brahman himself, not Brahmavid. Okay, good nahi farak hai. Okay. Yeah. Knowledge is the same. Teacher was Brahmaji himself. Okay, Ishvara himself. Okay, all right, fine. He taught it. Then Atharvane ya pravedat Brahma Atharvatam purovacha angire Brahma vidyam sa bharadvajaya satyavahaya praha bharadvajo angirase paravaram. Ya Brahma vidyam, that Brahma vidyam. Atharvane ya pravedat, that was taught to Atharvana. What did he do? Pravocha angire. To Angirasaha, another Rishi. Okay. Pura Vacha. It was just taught the first time, olden days, ancient time, at the beginning of time itself, if you can say that. Okay. He taught it. Okay. Sa Bharadvajaya Satyavahaya. He taught it to Satyavaha. He taught it to Satyavaha. Another Rishi, who was their descendant either by blood relationship or by Guru Sishya relation of Bharadvaja. Bharadvaja meaning descendant of Bharadvaja. The Rishi is Bharadvaja. Tasya apatyam sishyam va Bharadvajam. It's either his son or Sishya is called Bharadvaja. Some of you are Bharadvaja Gotra, isn't it? Bharadvaja was a very interesting Rishi. He did a lot of tapas for a boon. And what is the boon? If there is any person who has lost his gotra, family is destroyed either by famine or by war or by natural accidents, earthquakes, volcanoes, whatever. Anyone is there like that. Okay? Give me the right to include him into my family. We are talking about inclusion nowadays. Okay? What is this? He is doing tapas so that he gets that right to do that. That is why even today, if a student comes and he has to be initiated into the Gayatri, etc., and he says, I don't know my gotra, he will say, Bharadwaja gotra. Yeah. Therefore, this Bharat, such a Rishi, his descendant, Satyavaha, to him he was taught the Brahma Vidya. Then Bharadwajaha Angirase. Angirase, to another Rishi called Angiras. Now there are two Angiras mentioned if you notice in this verse. Okay. So obviously the second Angiras is someone different. Naturally, if you name someone Prabhat, there can be more than one Prabhat. No? Yeah, Panjabhikeshan, you have something to say.
Yeah. Swamiji, the one which, the earlier one is Angir only, I think.
Same thing. Yeah. Same. Yeah. Grammatical rules, it has become like this and that way. Yeah, that's all.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Now, naturally, you call someone Prabhat. How many Prabhats will you know? Yeah. Go to Kerala and say, Menone, call out, Mena. How many people will turn their heads? Or in Chennai, call Iyer. There are more than one always, okay? So, it's okay. Okay. So, Paravaram. Now, Paravaram can be taken as, in this context, Paravaram should be from one who got it earlier, Paraha, to Avaram, lower. Lower meaning later. Higher and lower becomes earlier and later. What's the difference between Guru and Sishya? The Guru has got it before you, that's all. Okay. The Guru does not say, I am Brahman, you are a Brahman. I am Brahman, you are an idiot. Guru can't say that. If he is Brahman, he sees everyone as Brahman. I used to say, you are Brahman. Yeah. Yeah. Therefore, the teaching is that. Therefore, there is no, the Guru does not feel superior in that sense. So, even when the student is studying or not putting in enough efforts, and the Guru may even give a kick on the backside. Some tough Gurus are like that, are there, okay? I know and known them. Okay. But he doesn't, is not, that is just to make sure that you also recognize what he has recognized. Yeah, to make sure you also recognize again the same knowledge. But earlier, later, Paravaram. Or Paravaram in the context of Mundaka, it's also there, says, later on we will say, Para and Apara Vidya, that can also talk about. That we will come to when the Mundaka deals with. Okay. Brahma Vidya is called Para Vidya, all other Vidya is called Apara Vidya. So, you can divide it like that also. Okay, but better to take it as Guru Sishya Parampara. Now, so what he is saying is, now look at it. We are talking about a parampara, a tradition of knowledge that has come from Ishvara himself. So, the knowledge becomes sacred. Not only that, earlier in explaining Brahma Vidyam Pratishtam, it's all established in Brahma Vidya, I made a statement. I said, your self-perception will impinge on your interpretation of the world. Now, all of us have self-ignorance. We are born with self-ignorance. If you are not self-ignorant, you will not be born. Born with self-ignorance, I gain any knowledge, it will be tainted by my ignorance. there will be a taint of self-ignorance coming in all my knowledge. Therefore, if you say that Brahmavidya was figured out by the rishis, remember the rishis, when they were born ignorant. Because if they had the knowledge, they wouldn't be born. They may have been highly evolved souls. That's a different thing. But they were all had ignorance when they were born with. That's why they had to go and study. Na? Mahatarvan Jabali is such a great, powerful rishi. Yeah. With the little I read about him, I just fell in love with that guy. I mean, come on, yaar, he is a person. What a rishi, like I saw. Okay. Because in the sadhu tradition, there is a tradition of being Shastradhari. Shastradhari is to be an expert in the Shastras. Also Shastradhari. Shastradhari meaning weapons. Being master of the weapons, especially among akhadas and etc. Okay. You can't say, I don't want to know about akhadas. You are part of one. If you consider myself, either me or Swami or any of the other Arshavidya Parampara or Chinmaya Mission Parampara as your teacher, you all belong to an akhada. No, I'll go directly, Puja Swamiji or Swami or Gurudev. Doesn't matter. All of us are part of the akhadas. Niranjani akhada. Okay? Can't avoid it. Because we are part of it. So, Shastradhari. And Mahatarvan was both. What Shastra? His Shastra was just a word. That is enough for him. He didn't need weapons. Yeah. So, such a great man also. Had to go and learn. Whom did he learn with? Bhagwan, Ishvara himself. Why is it said and why is it important? Because this knowledge has to come from a source which does not have ignorance. Because if there is ignorance, the taint of ignorance will be carried forward. It's like in mathematics. You make one small mistake at one step, you will carry forward that mistake right through. No? So, if there is a taint of ignorance, however great I am and however great I figure out things, the taint of ignorance will continue. That's why there will be always somebody later who will correct what you have discovered. Correct your theories. Your theories will be knocked out. That's how people gain PhDs anyway. So, it's always a question. So, the source of this knowledge has to be free from ignorance. There is only one source like that, Ishvara himself. Therefore, the knowledge is traced all the way back to Ishvara. And rightly so. In fact, if there is Ishvara, let's put it as a proposition. Unless Ishvara reveals himself, there is no way you can figure out. You cannot logically figure out an Ishvara. Because all your logic will have one presumption in it. The presumption is that this world is a created entity. This universe that you see, this universe is a created entity. And if you are being really strictly logical, you will understand that to say something is created, you should have seen the prag abhava and the pradvamsa abhava of that thing. The prior non-existence, later non-existence. That means, if I say this book is created, either of this book or a similar entity, finite thing, time-bound, space-bound thing, I must have seen a time when the book is not and a time when the book will not be. Will not be is easier. My book is already started the process of disintegration. I've been using it often, though this is the third set I picked up. Okay. I've been teaching for more than 35 years, so naturally it will be like that. No? Yeah. So, I should have seen that. How many universes have you seen before this universe to say that this universe is a created entity? Therefore, that this world is a creation is is a presumption on your part, is an assumption on your part. Unless you prove the world is a creation, you can't prove there is a creator. So if there is a source, the source has to reveal itself. This much is logical, recognized by all religions. That is why all religions claims to be from God. Through a prophet, through a son of God, through a messenger, this, that, whatever. Because we all recognize this. But any message can be beyond logic. What is illogical is not beyond logic. That there is an Ishvara is beyond logic. He has to reveal himself. What is the nature of Ishvara has to be understood logically. So then you have to examine the text logically. And that's what we are doing in an analysis, in our Vichara. What we are doing is analyzing a text to understand it logically. So with this, okay, now you have the Upanishad meaning, the parampara. So you are all standing in a great parampara, okay? Yeah. You are standing in Ishvara's parampara, Baba. Starting from Ishvara, Sadashva Samarambham, Shankaracharya Madhyamam. And in between, Mahatarvan, Bharadvaja, Satya, all that. Therefore, the parampara is great. Okay. Now, all right, fine. We come to the student in the Mundaka. Okay. Who was he? What did he go and ask? Okay. Only then the teaching can start, no? Because all teaching starts with some student going and asking some guru. Sometimes they are mentioned, Guru and Sishya's names are mentioned. Like here they are mentioned. Sometimes they are not mentioned. Kena Upanishad is not mentioned. Some mentioned. But that we will see next class. Okay. This thing is already 8 o'clock. I am sure family, everyone is waiting. Oh, dinner time, etc. Okay.